love him, Mr. JD. And bursting through, here's Honeysuckle Rose. They go to the post. Gotta love him on a nose down Honeysuckle Rose.
Yeah, I got interested in the GAP program as a result of just reading some literature that come out through the Greyhound Journal that we get here in Queensland.
The Greyhound Adoption Program is an initiative of Greyhounds Queensland, and it was set up to find good homes for greyhounds once they finished racing.
When you get greyhounds of his ilk, that with the great temperament, the great nature that he has, and a great loyal dog that he's been to us, that it's a shame that that they can't go on, into another family and live out their years in really wonderful conditions that they deserve.
Well, the dogs usually finished racing by the time they're 4 or 5 years old, but they'll live to 12 to 14, and there's a limit to how many dogs a trainer can keep in his backyard once they've finished racing. Normally there's pressure to move those dogs out to get some more dogs in for racing, so there's quite a few dogs there that would make perfect pets. Unfortunately for us, we are only allowed 4 greyhounds, 4 dogs on this property, and as a trainer, we've got to turn a few dogs over, and with him, I just, I had to make sure that he goes to a good home. And reading the GAP literature on the GAP and speaking to Kirsty, who's in charge of it here in Queensland, and the program that they have, it all goes well. The dogs are placed in wonderful homes, and they get to live out their lives in good circumstances. In relation to Prancer, like he's was a lone pup out of the racing bitch I had here called She's a Knockout. His racing name was Gotta Love Him, which all goes towards what he is. You've got to love him because he's such a beautiful dog. His breeding was, a sire of Gotta Love Him was Surf Lorien, and Gotta Love Him went on to win, I think, about 15 or 16 races, mostly at Albion Park. Well, he won about $40,000 in prize money, which is very good for a young dog nowadays. At his second last start before he hind muscle, he won the Mother's Day gift at Albion Park. So yeah, very fine chasing dog with just a wonderful personality about him. He'll be racing at Capalaba. It's in a veterans race, which is for dogs 4 years old and over. It's a straight track there at Capalaba, 366 metres, and we're anticipating that he'll go quite well. He's up to about start number 98 now, and just trying to get to 100 starts before he goes into the adoption program. So yeah, we're anticipating that only a couple more starts before he's able to begin his journey into the adoption program.
Gotta Love Him, he's got a clear margin, and Gotta Love Him is going to go home and win. Gotta Love Him first, Dream and Kakadu second, Ice Wine Grab third, and fourth, and last of all was Flash Emperor.
I'm hoping that a family get him, a family with children actually. I think he's a dog that can be trusted with kids. I mean, all these, and nowadays you've got to be careful of animals and children, but he's just got that perfect nature for a dog. Hasn't got a mean bone in his body. He's so friendly. He's so playful. He's just made to make family life better for those people that are around him. So no, he'd make a wonderful pet. There's quite a few steps the dog needs to go through. First of all, we bring them in and they go into boarding kennels where they're held for a few days and observed, and then we run them through an assessment, a greyhound behaviour test, and then they have to be taken out to the foster homes where they're dissected, checked by a vet, given worming, groomed and microchipped, basically made ready for adoption. So it does cost a few $100s for all those veterinary processes and to get the dog moved around. We charge an adoption fee at the end of it. The adoption fee at the end of the year will be $300 for someone wanting to adopt a greyhound, so they're getting a very good deal compared to how much it costs us to put the dogs through. A really important part of what our dogs go through is the greyhound behaviour assessment, which happens before the dogs go into foster care. The test was written by Dr. Linda Beers of Greyhound Racing Victoria, and the idea of the test is to make sure that only safe, normal greyhounds are going out there into the community. The law has changed in Queensland and they don't have to be muzzled anymore, so we have to make sure that the dogs we're putting out are great, friendly, normal happy greyhounds.
So the greyhound behaviour assessment has a few different components to it. The first component, we have the dog running loose in the yard, and we want to make sure that dog's nice and social towards people. And then we get the dog excited and give it a fright, give it a few loud noises, and what we're looking for there is the dog reacts normally and recovers normally from being frightened and doesn't go to pieces. We then do some testing with resource guarding. We want to be able to take a toy off the dog and also food off the dog without the dog being aggressive towards people. That's really important. The final part of our test is the prey drive test, where we have a little fluffy dog, and the greyhounds get introduced very carefully to the small fluffy dog, and we introduce them, let them walk around together, and then let them off lead so they can have a run together. And it's really important that the greyhounds look at that small fluffy dog and treat it as a dog and don't treat it as prey. It's important they don't see it as a lure or something to chase or grab. Well, Prancer passed his greyhound assessment, which was really good. So that means he's ready to go into foster care. So we'll be placing Prancer with a foster family, and the family will get him used to things like stairs and slippery floors, sliding glass doors, traffic situations, things that Prancer may not have come across yet with his life with Paul. And the foster carer will be writing that down in a book, her observations of how Prancer reacts to things, so that we can get a good picture of what sort of home Prancer will be best suited to.
We've been fostering for about 2 years now. We first adopted our first greyhound, Murphy, and after we had him for a few months we decided that we'd like to foster, and because they're such lovely dogs, and then we contacted the GAP program and asked them if we could foster, and we've been fostering ever since. I think the best part of it is that you get to help these dogs. They're all individuals, but they're all beautiful dogs, and the public perception of them is not correct. They are beautiful, gentle dogs, very friendly, very cuddly, and we just really enjoy helping them out, and it's a joy to have them in the home. We've got our 2 smaller dogs here, and they all get on very well with them, and we just love having them about the house. Prancer's settled really, really well. He's been very affectionate to both my wife and myself and our other dogs. He was recently desexed, and he's getting over that very, very well. He's certainly an interesting dog. He's quite a forceful dog, but he's very well behaved, and he just needs a little firm hand. And when I say a firm hand, he just needs a firm command, or at worst a squirt with a water bottle, and he'll do as you ask. And he's much better than he was, and he's continuing to improve every day.
While the dogs are in foster care, it can be quite surprising how their personalities come out, and we really find that all the dogs are a little bit different, and by assessing them in foster care it gives us the opportunity to find the perfect home for that dog. There's some that are very gentle and laid back, will make perfect pets for elderly people. Then there's dogs like Prancer that are very intelligent, very friendly and outgoing, and we can imagine a young family who loves walks, maybe doing a bit of obedience or agility, will be the perfect home for Prancer.
The good thing about the GAP program is it's been recognised in law just last June that any of the dogs that have their green collars on don't need to be muzzled in public, and because of that the dogs are now seen or not seen as aggressive. They never were aggressive, and we're delighted that that law has been passed. So now we can take them out in public. They just appear like a normal pet, which is exactly what they are, and that's one of the big benefits of the GAP program. The other benefit of the GAP program is that they give you lifelong support for the dog. So we don't just say, there's your dog, see you later. We're always available to answer your questions if you've got a problem with the dog. If there's something the dog can't do. We did have one foster go out once and he wasn't able to climb stairs, and the people had a 2-storey house, so we sent a behaviouralist round and they spent some time with the dog and they were able to get him up the stairs, and all that was involved there was just bribing him up with treats, because most greyhounds sink with their tummies. But it went really, really well, and I think that's the thing. It's more of a community as well. There's a lot of people out there in GAP that are always ready to help you and devote time to you if you are having any problems with your greyhound.
We have a lot of volunteers. We have a full-time staff member, Rebecca Motta, and we have about well over 100 volunteers who help in various roles, about 75 foster carers. The rest of our volunteers help us out with driving dogs around or helping us with screening new homes. We have people who help us with the assessments we do on the dogs, but we're always looking for more volunteers to help more dogs get through the program.